Sometimes you read something that is so unbelievably undescribable. Indescribable. Making me lose the words. Stephen Harper is putting through this act to protect children by allowing the police to go into your ISP, look at everything you're doing, look at your emails with no warrant. Basically, it's pretty much the same BS as SOPA and ACTA. And this is apparently going to be the Canadian version of it. Now, it is being put through by the conservative government, the right-wing government. You know, the ones that are always crying that government is interfering in things. Now, I, for whatever masochistic reason, read the Toronto Sun today. And I happened to read Laurie Goldstein's article on it. Laurie Goldstein is the associate editor of The Sun, and several adjectives I won't repeat. Now, he said, basically, he was saying he's thinking about some of the wording in it, but the hysteria from the left is just unreasonable. No, giving the government the power to spy on you without a warrant, to spy on you without a completely fascist law. No, why would the left overreact to something like that? I think the good question is, why wouldn't the right wing be reacting over that? After all, they're the ones who keep screaming that they're all about freedom and keeping big government out of your lives, after all. The infuriating part about this, if a liberal or a leftist, because there is a difference between the two, ever tries to protect wages, let alone increase them, or ever try to regulate a company that's hurting people, they scream it's fascism, it's big business interfering in everybody's life, and they're all about freedom. Yet somebody literally writes a law to intrude on your life and spy on you, and they're okay with it. But then again, it was a conservative, a right-winger who wrote the law, so therefore it's not fascism. Just like the same way, all those people who were crying about the stuff that Obama was putting through this fascist were cheering Bush right the fuck on when he was doing it. And I know there's a small percentage of the population, myself included, who complained when both of them were doing it because they're both wrong. What is so inherently fascist by, I would say, in my opinion, fascist by him and those like him and those who support this, is the utter hypocrisy of it. Conservative, a right-winger writes a law to spy on you and invade your privacy, and they attack anyone who stands against it. Well, this law was written to protect children from pedophiles, although leaving no mention of pedophilia or the intended purpose of it in the language, only to give police certain powers, thus not actually even specifying the supposed reason it's there for. And you attack them as saying they're pro-pedophile. They must be if they stand against this law to protect children, even though without actually specifying that's what it's supposed to do, even though it doesn't. Then you must be pro-pedophile. They even aptly demonstrated this by putting a cartoon of a guy sitting in front of a computer filling an online poll. What do you think of Harvard's invasion of privacy? I'm against it. And the back of the shirt says pedophile. Wow. Anyone who doesn't like being spied upon must be a pedo, right? I think you've got your facts a little mixed up in your article, Laurie Goldstein, because if you actually did bother to read the act, it does give the police the ability to come after you. It does kind of skip all those annoying little things that the government has to put up with like judicial oversight, or getting a warrant, or acknowledging that you have rights. Even there's a tremendous amount of insanity behind this. Okay, SOPA, ACTA, pretty much the same thing. You know what we should do here in Canada? Try the exact same thing. Why not? ACTA and SOPA have gone over with people so well so far, and they've been so happy about it. They've only tried to crush it to death, and with good reason. The strange thing is here, somehow Canadians will be different, and they'll be accepting of it. Because we put, won't you please think of the children before it, unlike ACTA and SOPA, who didn't put any kind of concern for children in front of it. But again, it's all the point to demonize anybody who was actually against it, was it not? As a conservative who's suspicious of the power of the state, especially of what can happen when police operate without meaningful judicial and civilian oversight, I'm not convinced of the wisdom of the law as written. Well, if you are against it, then it's concern for the law as written. If a leftist is against it, then they must be hysterical and out of their minds and going crazy, not wanting to be spied on. Even you have a problem with it. Of course, you're not going to come right out and say that you think it's wrong. Even you, on some level, knows it's wrong. And that is a sign to me and other leftists that even if you, a guy who sucks up to them, sucks up to the right wing like you were one of them. Not that you'd be part of the same elite circle or anything, but even if you are saying something, then Jesus, it must be pretty bad. I cannot get over the fact that even though you're against the wording of it, which means the overall message of spying on people you seem to be okay with, even though you claim that's not what this is about, but you have concerns with the way it was written, and you bash anyone who's against it. Oh, in other words, it's okay if you have a mild problem with it. But if anyone doesn't like being spied on, oh well, they deserve to be attacked because they're hysterical. Well, there must be a closet pedo in that case, because only a pedo wouldn't want this to go through. It's a nice way of slandering anybody who likes freedom, or at least anybody who just doesn't want to get spied on by Harper and the rest of the closet fascist right wing. Here is a perfect example of what I was saying about the hypocrisy of the right wing putting through legislation going into our lives while spending all your time whining, where, big government in our lives, where? Here's an example of that hypocrisy. Finally, these are the folks who perpetually advocate for the state to intruding more into our lives. Clearly, they should have been more careful about what they wish for. Of course, you're complaining that liberals or progressives or leftists are trying to get into your lives and ignoring the fact that it was actually a right-winger, a conservative who put it through. So what are you saying? When you and your people, the people you defend, do something fascist, it's our fault for what you do. Disingenuous blankety blank. I cannot think of anything more hypocritical or insane to literally blame the left for what you and your elitist friends are actually doing to this country. It is unbelievable. Intruding into your lives. We write a law that says you have to regulate how much chlorine goes into our drinking water, or the minimal amount someone is allowed to be paid so they don't starve to death in the street, and it's government intruding on our lives. But when the government literally intrudes on our lives, literally goes into everything we look at, everything we read, and our opinion, you back them. And the best you can do is complain a little bit about the wording. My God, is every right-winger full of it to the degree that I thoroughly believe that you are. You are literally doing what it is that you constantly complain about. My God, the CBC makes a television show. Oh, that's going too far. It's wasting our money, intruding on our lives, telling us what we have to like. And yet, here you are backing Stephen Harper, literally spying on us. This is fascism. This act by Stephen Harper is fascism. God knows half the things he's already done are already fascism. And here you are backing him up on it. And it's the same old BS excuse. He's here to protect us. If we want a minimum wage that we can live by, then it's government interfering in people's lives, interfering in a corporation. But then again, you're the kind that thinks corporations are actual people, are you not? The people who celebrate that definition. It is a right-wing mentality. It always has been. And here it is, a right-winger pushing through fascism, pushing through being spied on, and you still dare, or as Keith Olbermann would say, how dare you, sir, blame the left for what a right-wing, conservative, Christian government is doing. I cannot believe it's unbelievable that you could that you could say that. This is the right wing. This is the right wing intruding on our lives. The only way you could possibly get a column, even in something that is such a dumbed down rag as The Sun, is that you're the associate editor. Thank you. And I mean that sarcastically. For backing up fascism being brought into our lives.